Uncle Sam is getting out of your child's lunchbox. This is a big story we covered a lot. Do you remember these kids?
You go to practice and you feel like falling down. I'll carry you home tonight. We are hungry. Set the bullets to your fire. It can burn brighter than the sun.
Remember that? That was so cute. Now those kids can rejoice. The government's healthy lunch crackdown that left a lot of these kids hungry, like we just showed you, is now being rolled back. Republican Senator John Hoeven of North Dakota joins me now. Senator, thanks for joining me. I'm going to get right to this story, but first I have to ask you about what's going on in the Northeast here. We've got pipelines that are compromised. It seems like people are seeing their bills rise. Prices are going up, up, up. How can this be when we've increased production so very much in this country?
Well, that's it, Gerri. As you know, I've been working very hard to get more pipelines, not only for crude oil, but also for natural gas. So now you see with this extremely cold weather, the Northeast can't get enough supply in there. At the very same time, my state of North Dakota and other places are flaring off gas because we don't have enough pipeline to get it to market. So that's both ends of the spectrum. That's why I'm fighting to get this administration to let us site more pipelines.
Well, it's got to happen sooner rather than later, because let me tell you, once these folks in the Northeast start seeing their bills, you're going to hear a lot of complaining, I think. I do want to talk to you.
We need the infrastructure. We're producing the energy. We need the infrastructure.
I agree. Good insight. Well, let's talk about this school lunch program. You know, we've heard lots of yelling and screaming from our viewers about this program that the government put in place where I think kids were supposed to eat just quinoa and black beans. That was pretty much the menu. And now the government is backing off, and it's partially because of what you've been doing. Tell us about your role in this.
Right. Together with Senator Pryor, I put together a piece of legislation called the Sensible School Lunch Act. And it said, look, U.S. Department of Agriculture, you've got to back off all these serious restrictions, this one-size-fits-all federal approach, which doesn't work for our schools. And as you showed in your clip, the reason I started working on it is because students from across my state were getting a hold of me saying, hey, we're not getting enough to eat at lunch. Can you help us?
Well, you even have a letter, I think, that you want to read a piece of.
Yeah.
And tell us what the students in your state have been saying. Let's hear from them.
Well, here's an example. I'll just read part of it from the Lisbon Middle School in Lisbon, North Dakota. Dear Senator Hoeven, schools in the United States need better lunches. I'm sure that you get the amount of food that you want, so why can't we? I'm sure you don't starve during the day like us. We think you could change this by convincing the other senators about this issue. We need the change soon. This is very important. And so it was really the school kids that got us going. And our bill was set really to pass in January. We really had no opposition. We'd worked it very hard. And the U.S. Department of Ag came out and made the very changes we asked for, which was to lift the limits on cereal grains and on protein, on the meat that these kids could get on a daily basis.
You know, the big fear, of course, was obesity in children. Was the federal program the way to fight that?
Well, not only that, look, they came out with a program that they estimate would cost $100 million to implement, and then only provided $50 million to do it. So it's not only does it not work in terms of this big one-size-fits-all approach from the federal government, which you can see how the students reacted, but all this cost to our schools as well. So I think we've really gotten the schools the flexibility now, and a big thank you to the National Association of School Nutritionists who got on board with our bill and went to all the Senate offices and got everybody on board with us.
You know, I really think that the federal government cannot ignore the screaming and the yelling from schools all over this country, and I know parents did not like the federal government in their kids' lunchbox. Senator Hoeven, thanks for coming on the show tonight. It was great to see you. Come back anytime. Thank you.
Thanks, Gerri.
All right, now we want to know what you think. Here's our question tonight. Should the government get out of your child's lunchbox? Log on to GerriWillis.com. Vote on the right-hand side of the screen. I'll share the results at the end of tonight's show. Well, we're just getting started here, folks. We've got more.